Welcome back, everyone, to the Performance Prescription Lab podcast. We're kicking off season 3, and we couldn't be more excited to bring you another season filled with groundbreaking insights and powerful conversations around athlete health, performance, and the evolving role of sports pharmacy. I'm Jess, and I'm here today with my co-host Nilham. And today we're diving into conversations that are reshaping how athletes are cared for worldwide. What if I told you that behind every elite athlete, behind their training, their recovery, and their ability to compete, there's a healthcare team working tirelessly to protect their health, performance, and integrity in sport? But what's often overlooked in that team is that a pharmacist could and should be one of the most critical members. Pharmacists just aren't counting pills behind the counter. They're now stepping into the global sports arena, working with international federations and ensuring that medications, supplements, and treatments enhance performance without compromising health or violating anti-doping rules. Today, we have somebody with us leading that charge on a global scale.
Absolutely, Jess. We are honored to have Mohy El-din El-Gaafary joining us today, an IOC certified sports pharmacist, founder and managing director of Intermed for Sports Medical Supplies, and he's the chair of the Therapeutic Use Exemption Committee for 3 major international sports federations. Plus, he's a driver in advancing sports pharmacy education in his home country of Egypt and beyond. Today, we are getting a global perspective on clean sport, medication management in elite athletes, and sports pharmacists' role in protecting and enhancing athlete health. We are so excited to bring you this Performance Prescription Lab podcast episode and the new season, so buckle up. This episode will open your eyes to just how critical pharmacists are in shaping the future of athlete health and performance.
Mohy, welcome to the Performance Prescription Lab. We are thrilled to have you here and for you to share your incredible expertise with our listeners. What's so powerful about your work is that you sit at the intersection of pharmacy, medicine, and athlete health, which is precisely why we created this podcast. You have such a fascinating career, from working with international federations like IBSA, Virtuous, and World Ability Sports to launching sports pharmacy education in in Egypt. There's so much to cover today, but I'd love to start with your journey. So can you describe to me how you first entered the field of sports pharmacy and what drew you to it?
Hello, Jessica. Hello, Nilhan. First of all, I want to thank you for this amazing opportunity to join you today. I hope this episode will be useful and special. For my journey with sports pharmacy, where do I even begin? I can see that my journey into sports pharmacy actually started way back in my childhood. Can you believe that?
Oh my goodness.
When When I was a kid, people used to ask me what I wanted to be when I grow up. And while most kids would say things like a doctor, engineer, police officer, or even firefighter, I proudly said a pharmacist. Not exactly what the usual childhood dream, right?
That's
For me,
I heard it for the first time. Do you have a family member that is a pharmacist?
no. I am
Interesting.
the first person in my family to be pharmacist. But
Interesting.
it's my mom dream. My mom, she is an engineer, but she was wanted to be a pharmacist. But she joined the engineering faculty. So for me, my love for pharmacy started early. I was fascinated by medicine, and that fascination pushed me to join pharmacy school. At the same time, like everyone else in the Arab world, I had a deep love for football. Football here is not just a sport, it's a shared obsession, almost a form of madness. and my love for sports was built on that love for football. After graduating from pharmacy school, I opened my own pharmacy. Later, I moved into supplying medical equipment to sports clubs and teams. It was during this time that I worked closely with the sports doctors and the physical therapists. But there was always this one question that bugged me. Why you were not a pharmacist part of the sports medicine team? This was back in 2013. Okay, so life went on, and I kept working with clubs, supplying their medical needs. Then came to 2015, and with it, a life-changing moment. One day, a football team doctor asked me, "Is corticosteroid banned in sports?" And with all innocence, I asked him, "Why? Why would corticosteroids be banned?" He replied, "Because of doping." I was curious, so I asked him in surprise, "Doping? What is doping?" He laughed and said, "Oh, it's a massive topic. Every year, the Football Federation sends us a list of banned substances, and even we, the doctors, don't fully understand it." He handed me the list, and as soon as I saw it, I can see I fell in love at first sight. Yes. With the list, with the pharmaceutical terms, what it's named the prohibited list. I remember I said to him, "This is exactly the kind of thing only a pharmacist would understand." So the doctor looked to me and said, "Then you are the person to help us." And that was the beginning of my love story with sports pharmacy. From that moment, I was hooked. I started reading, studying, and learning everything I could about banned substance. That's when I discovered what is the WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency. At first, I felt like I would jump into a deep ocean, and I didn't know which way to swim. But honestly, it was such an exciting adventure that I didn't mind being lost. Fast forward to 2019. Of course, everyone remembers how tough the years of 2019 and 2020 were because of the COVID pandemic. But for me, 2020 was actually the year when my dream started to take shape. You might remember how sports activities came to complete stop during the pandemic. Then when sports started to slowly come back, like Egyptian Premier League, volunteers were needed from various medical fields to work as COVID officers. The rule was to make sure all the safety protocols were followed and to conduct rapid COVID tests. When the Egyptian Football Association called for volunteers, I didn't hesitate for a second. I signed up immediately, and that was the beginning of my journey in major sports events. Not long after that, I was invited to join the medical committee for several local and regional tournaments and sports events in Egypt. Actually, this experience was a huge opportunity for me. It helped me establish myself as a pharmacist specializing in sports and athlete care. It was the turning point that showed me how pharmacists could play an essential role in the world of sports. And then in 2021, and after years of diving into research and absorbing knowledge, I finally got my hands on WADA's code. I remember that I studying the codes. It's about 23 code, and everything starting to click into place. My dream was to get certified. In this time, in 2021, my dream was to get certified by a credible source. And that's when I founded the International Olympic Committee Drugs in Sport Certification Program. I didn't even think twice. I applied immediately, and it was very useful and started to shape my future way officially. Through all this, I surprised and learned something amazing, that I was not alone in this journey. Around the world, there are many crazy pharmacists like me who are just as passionate about sports pharmacy as I am. I connected with amazing pharmacists like Sumar from Turkey. Hi, Sumar, if you listen to us. I even traveled to Lausanne in Switzerland, the Olympic capital, to join graduation ceremony and to experience its rich sports history firsthand, and it was incredible. Since then, I have participated in events and webinars like one hosted by the International Pharmaceutical Federation, FEB, where I met the amazing Nilhan for the first time. Did you remember Nilhan?
Of course, that was a long time ago, but I can't believe it's been years since
Yeah,
then.
yeah. And now in 2025, I'm here sharing my story with you as a period pioneer in sports pharmacy. It's been a long and challenging road, but it's also been one full of passion, dedication, and gratitude.
I love your story, Mohi. Like, that is amazing. I love that you wanted to be this as a kid, and then just how you were willing to be curious, but also say yes at opportunities that have just kind of shaped the rest of your career after that.
I think all the pharmacists are some kind of entrepreneurs, and you are one of them.
Yeah,
And usually getting engaged in sports pharmacy is when you have some sort of connection with sports. I think the
yeah,
story is similar to Jess and to me as well in different walks of life. You discover the need, and then you followed your passion. I think it's also a true demonstration of the spirit of sports, the
yeah, yeah.
dedication you show, the commitment you gave to your athletes. So thank you very much for sharing your inspiring story. And one of the things I found incredibly fascinating about your work, Mohi, is how far you have reached your impact on athlete health and clean sport globally. You started as a
Mhm.
kid, and then your impact is now on a global scale. This is very inspiring to us. And you are the chair of the Therapeutic Use Exemption Committee for three major international sports federations for
Yeah,
para athletes. And also, we are working there together under your leadership. It's a great opportunity that you offered to me as well. It's a pleasure to work with you. And you sit at the center of a space where medication management, athlete health, anti doping regulations intersect. It's a very complex work, and I really respect your leadership. And what's so unique about this role is that you just don't see these challenges from one team or one country's perspective. You see the entire global scope of what athletes face across different sports, regions, competition levels. And this is not just athletes, but it's also athletes with disabilities. So there comes a different level of complexity. And
yeah,
that's what I think most healthcare professionals and honestly, most athletes themselves don't fully realize the complexity behind managing medications. Managing medications in sport isn't just about ensuring an athlete doesn't test positive on a doping test. It's about balancing their health, performance, eligibility, all while navigating the complexity of international anti doping rules. Athletes are human too. They need treatment and they have to adhere to rules. So it's a really delicate balance. And you work in reviewing therapeutic use exemption TUE applications yourself, and you lead a committee, an international committee of sports professionals. And this is where athletes apply for permission to use certain prohibited medications for legitimate medical conditions. And this is critical. And because it's not always black and white, you're dealing with chronic conditions, acute injuries, life altering diseases, and the reality that some athletes can't compete safely without certain medications. And at the same time, there is also a responsibility to protect the integrity of clean sport, ensuring no athlete gains an unfair advantage through medication misuse. So that's a really fine line to walk, to be honest. Myself reviewing these applications has been quite challenging, to be honest. So, Mohy, what are some of the most common medication related challenges you see as the TUE committee chair?
Okay. During our working in the TAE committee chair, we face several situations, especially from Paralympic athletes with very, very special needs and very different medical histories and medical cases. One of the most point or the most challenges we face that many physicians don't aware about the procedures they have to make. Another thing, the multi descriptions, especially for Paralympic athletes. As you know, Paralympic athletes suffers from many different medical cases. They need different treatments, and we are in the TE committee controlled by the specific criteria, controlled by the protocols. Though we are always have to choose between the right of the athletes to have a treatment and the fairness and the fair play. And what is one of the very, very most challenges we face, the requirements we have to require from the athletes. And another challenge that many medications the athletes required to have TUE have an alternative, but we are as committee can't tell them what is the alternative. It's not our decision. It's not our rule, and the athletes and his physicians can't take the decisions for this point.
I love, Mohy, that you highlighted Paralympic athletes and just the complexity that those athletes and their various conditions, face in the TUE committee, and that there's multiple medications involved. Can you kind of describe, or what's most surprising, do you think, to healthcare professionals or even athletes, and what they don't realize about the TUE process?
Through my work as the TE committee chair, we face a significant challenge in balancing the players' right in proper treatment with maintaining fairness and the principles of fair play, as I said before. Actually, the TUE process is essential, but often a misunderstood part of sports medicine. What's surprising is how little awareness there is about it, even among healthcare professionals and athletes. For many, the idea of needing to apply for permission to use a banned substance for medical treatment seems overly complicated or even unnecessary. But the reality is that the TUE process exists to protect athletes' health while maintaining fairness in sports. Let me break this down in detail and explore the most unexpected aspects of the TUE process, and keeping in mind that the challenge and solutions. First, one of the most surprising things in the TUEs are not automatic. TUE process is not an automatic process. Many athletes think that if they have a legitimate medical condition requiring a specific treatment, they can simply go ahead and use the medication. But that's not the case. The TUE process requires formal approval, which involves submitting detailed medical records, diagnostic tests, and the clear evidence that no alternative treatment is available. This level of detail ensures that the system is fair and transparent. But also means that athletes and their medical teams need to be well prepared. Unfortunately, a lot of athletes and even their doctors are unaware of the steps involved, which can lead to unnecessary confusion or even violations of anti-doping rules. Another unexpected aspect in the flexibility of the TUE process is emergency. Many people assume that if you didn't apply for a TUE before taking a banned substance for critical emergency medical conditions, you are out of luck. But that's not entirely true. In cases where treatment is urgent, athletes can apply for a retroactive TUE after receiving the medications. This is particularly important for situations where delaying treatment could endanger the athlete's health. However, this option is not widely known even among medical teams, which means many athletes miss out on treatments they might urgently need, fearing they will violate doping rules. Awareness of this flexibility could make a huge difference for the athletes and their physicians. A common misconception in the TUE process is overly complicated and not worth the effort. Many athletes think that TUE is not important, but it's true that the process requires a significant amount of documentation, but it's not as complicated as they may seem. The system is designed to be fair, ensuring that only real medical cases are approved. Athletes need to provide, as I said before, need to provide the medical records, the diagnostic test, and the detailed explanation of why alternative treatments are not possible. While this can seem overwhelming and at first, having a team, including a sports pharmacist, can very, very simplify the process significantly. I advise athletes speaking for sports pharmacists. The role in TUE process is often underestimated. Pharmacists who specialize in sports medicine are invaluable and in guiding athletes through the medication use and compliance. For example, a pharmacist can review an athlete's prescriptions to ensure they align with anti-doping regulations and help prepare the necessary documentation for TUE application. They act as a bridge between the medical team and the regulatory bodies, ensuring that athletes can access the treatment they need without risking their careers. In the end of this point, the TUE process, I wanted to confirm that TUE process exists to protect athletes' health and careers while upholding the fair play in sports. The key to success is raising awareness and helping athletes, doctors, and teams understand this process better, because knowledge is what keeps athletes safe and confident.
I think that was a great explanation of the TUE process and the things that I feel like as a sports pharmacist, I see also many people not understanding or realizing. So thank you for sharing that and kind of recognizing it, that it's probably a global situation where, you know, they can definitely benefit from having education by a sports pharmacist of not only the process, but of other medications that athletes could use. So having a sports pharmacist on the team sounds like a win for everybody. And I think it's a really interesting point you also make, that the medication landscape in sport is evolving too. As you mentioned, there's challenges that aren't just about medications that athletes take, but it's also about who's guiding them to make the safe, effective choices and complying with anti-doping rule regulations. And I think as all three of us definitely can feel or say, that that's exactly where sports pharmacists have a massive opportunity, not just in medication management, but in proactively protecting athlete health. And this brings me something to the next thing that I feel like is very powerful in the work you're doing, Mohy. It's one thing to support an athlete through the TUE and medication management, but what's even more groundbreaking is your commitment to the field of sports pharmacy from the ground up. You've been instrumental in launching postgraduate certificate programs in sports pharmacy in Alexandria University, which is huge because not only you're providing formal education for pharmacists who want to specialize in athlete care, but you're also laying the foundation for an entire generation of sports pharmacists to emerge in Egypt. And that's something that, quite honestly, we're still working on here in the US, is creating clear pathways for pharmacists who want to work with athletes. So seeing you actively build that infrastructure is so inspiring. And I kind of want to hear a little bit more about that. Can you tell me about your work in creating sports pharmacy education in Egypt and why you believe it's critical for the future of athlete care?
I will never forget the words of Dr. Richard Budget, the member of the Medical Commission of the International Olympic Committee at our graduation ceremony in Lausanne. He told us that each one of us is like an ambassador for our country, and it's our responsibility to contribute to our committees and spread knowledge. These words stuck with me, and when I returned to Egypt, it inspired me to take action. One of the first things I did was contact the administration of the Faculty of Pharmacy at Alexandria University, my alma mater. But before I dive into the story, here is an interesting and little known Olympic fact about my city, Alexandria. Did you know that the Alexandria holds a special place in Olympic history? Because the first ever Olympic flag designed by Baron Pierre de Coubertin was actually made in Alexandria in 1914. It was first
No
raised up
idea.
at the Shotby Stadium. Yeah. So Alexandria and my city has a very special relationship with the Olympic movement. In 1914, the first Olympic flag made in Alexandria and being handed over to the Olympic Committee. And today, this flag is housed in the Olympic Museum in Lausanne. So this connection makes Alexandria a significant part of Olympic history. So let's back to the Faculty of Pharmacy in Alexandria. I reached out to the dean and the faculty staff and they shared the ideas with them. I explained that there is an entirely new field in pharmacy called the sports pharmacy, and that it's full of advanced knowledge and modern practices. I emphasized that this specialization is essential for pharmacy graduates, enabling them to benefit society and athletes. After all, as pharmacists, it's our role to contribute to the community. To my surprise, they quickly embraced the idea. They invited me to deliver an introductory lecture on sports pharmacy, and they extended the invitation to pharmacy graduates in Alexandria. In the lecture, I highlighted that the importance of this new field and stressed the need to integrate it into educational curriculum. This would provide students with tools they need to advise and guide athletes, particularly regarding anti-doping laws. I remember that the lecture took place in December 2023. Yeah. Just 2 months later, I was surprised when the faculty reached out again. They informed me that there was a proposal to create a diploma program for pharmacy graduates called Sports Pharmacy Diploma. In 2024, we began drafting the curriculum and planning the details of the diploma. While the program has not officially launched yet, we are about to roll out a pilot course for a 3-month certificate program in the coming 2 months.
That's awesome, Mohy. That's so do we call you Professor Mohy?
No. Just a lecture.
That's very inspiring, Mohy. I think there will be sports pharmacists or sports pharmacists will be listening to this podcast, and they'll be inspired by you to set up their maybe own programs or their own modules, lectures, whatever available in their context. And since you have experience in setting up the education for sports pharmacy in Egypt, you've done a lot. Can you share some of the challenges you face when you are getting this education program off the ground and how you overcome them? Because if somebody is interested in setting up this course, it would be very helpful for them to know the challenges and the solutions you came up
Yeah.
with so that they can use the same system in their own country.
Okay. As you know, starting something completely new for the first time in both is both exciting and terrifying. It's a mix of fear and fascination. A thrilling challenge that keeps you on your toes. For me, the biggest challenge in launching sports pharmacy education has been developing the curriculum. In many countries, there is no peer example to follow, and that makes it extremely tough. Designing a brand new program from scratch is challenging, especially when there are very few references or resources available in this emerging field. What helped me overcome this challenge was a report published by the International Pharmaceutical Federation, FIB, in December 2022. The report provided general guidelines for developing education programs, and it became a valuable resource in creating the framework for our curriculum. Another major challenge which we are still facing is securing official and governmental approvals. As you know, introducing any new academic program at a university requires formal approvals from higher councils and ministries. Since sports pharmacy is the field of its kind in Egypt and across Africa, the approval process has taken longer than we anticipated. It requires numerous meetings, numerous consultations to explain the details of the new specializations and the proposed curriculum. At Alexandria University's Faculty of Pharmacy, we are working hard to address this hurdles and streamline the approval process. This is crucial to ensure the program can move forward without further delays. I hope for a bit of luck and lots of support to turn this vision into reality. And please wish us success in making sports pharmacy education a groundbreaking achievement in Egypt and beyond.
The program you created would be also very helpful. So you're a resource person.
Thank you.
That pharmacists, sports pharmacists, or people interested in sports pharmacy can reach out to. And I think sports pharmacy is lucky to have you, that you've done the hard work. So we've had a lot of conversations on this episode about the value of having a sports pharmacist embedded within an athlete's healthcare team. So we discussed about the value of having a sports pharmacist in athlete healthcare teams. And something needs to change to see more sports pharmacists in sports medicine teams. What needs to be changed, in your opinion, in Egypt, in the world, so that there will be more sports pharmacists as part of sports medicine teams of professional teams or at Olympic teams?
To truly see more pharmacists working as part of sports medicine teams, especially at professional and Olympic levels, a lot of things need to change. Right now, unfortunately, pharmacists are not always seen as a natural part of the sports world. But if you look closely, they could bring so much value to athletes and their teams. And let me break down it for you. First, one big thing that needs to change globally is how we think about pharmacists. Unfortunately, most people picture pharmacist as the person standing behind the counter at a pharmacy, handing you your medications. But in reality, Pharmacists are highly trained healthcare professionals who have deep knowledge about medications, supplements, and how they work in the body. In sports, where every detail about an athlete's health matters, this knowledge is incredibly valuable. So we need to raise awareness about this role and show how pharmacists can directly benefit athletes. I think another thing to focus on is education. Right now, there are not enough specialized programs that teach pharmacists how to work with athletes. For example, for pharmacists to join sports medicine teams, they need training in areas like anti-doping rules, safe supplement use, recovery strategies, and injury management. This means we need universities and organizations to introduce courses and certifications in sports pharmacy. What's exciting is that people are starting to see this need. A big part of the challenge is getting pharmacists into the team itself. In sports medicine, teams usually include doctors, physiotherapists, dietitians, and sometimes psychologists. But pharmacists often are not considered part of the group. So there needs to be more collaboration. If doctors, coaches, and the other team members understand how a pharmacist can help by advising on medication or preventing unintentional doping, pharmacists will have a stronger role. We need partnership between sports organizations and the pharmacy institutions to make this happen. Another point that which is policy and regulations play a huge role here. Globally, sports organizations like the International Olympic Committee, International Sports Federations, WADA, set the rules. If these bodies made it a requirement to have pharmacists on sports teams, it would open the door for more involvement, but this requires advocacy. Pharmacists, athletes around the world, I think they need to push for these changes at both local and international levels. And another thing to consider is research. Data speaks loudly, as you know. If we can collect evidence showing how pharmacists improve athlete care, whether it's through better recovery times, of fewer doping violations, or safer medications use, I think it would create a much stronger case. This is why researchers, especially those in sports medicine, should focus more on studies that highlight the pharmacist role. Lastly, networking. Networking and global communication are so important. Pharmacists need platforms to connect with others in sports medicine and share their knowledge. Events like conference, workshops, and webinars, and like this broadcast can help build these connections. When pharmacists start sharing their success stories and showing real world examples, I think more people will start paying attention. Sports pharmacists need to move out of their circle, and reach another circles of decision makers in sports field. In the end of this point, it's about showing the pharmacists are not just medicine experts. They are key players in keeping athletes healthy and safe. Globally, these changes will take time. I know that these changes and insert pharmacists to the field of sports will take time, but with the right steps, more pharmacists can join sports medicine teams, and their impact on athletes' well-being could be game-changing.
Mohy, I think you could shout that from the mountaintops for the whole world to hear, because that was beautiful. And I think Neelham and I both echo every point you said. I love some of the points you brought up about advocacy and making sure that, we're starting to look at advocating for sports pharmacists to be a part of teams. But I think the last point is also very powerful, is that we need to get out of our circles and start getting into other networks and being able to show the value of the pharmacist. We can say a lot of it, but actually, I think getting out there and doing it and being a part of these teams and showing that value is really impactful, more sometimes than us just saying, hey, let us join, but let us show you why we should be a part of it is super powerful.
Indeed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Generating data is really important. You said something really powerful. Data is powerful, I think. So once
Yeah.
we demonstrate the value, not just in saying, but we do it, then we publish it, and then it speaks itself for itself. Because I know all of us have significant value, add significant value to the athletes, teams, organizations that we work with and work for. So it's very inspiring. I already got some ideas for sports pharmacy in Turkey and Cyprus. Things that we need similar things. We need to overcome similar challenges. So thanks for pointing that out and speaking this loudly.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mohy. So we're going to end this podcast with some fun fast fire questions for, we'll call it Professor Mohy at this time, but don't worry, it's not a pop quiz like in school. So we're just going to ask these and just kind of let us know what comes to your mind first. The first question is, if you could be a team pharmacist for any sports team in the entire world, professional team, which one would it be and why?
Uh, Absolutely, without any hesitation, I would love to be part of the medical team for a football club. I would love to, and I think it would be very smart to join Liverpool team, so I can work alongside with the Egyptian King Mo Salah and lift the Premier League trophy with him this season.
That is a beautiful dream, and I hope it comes true for you, Moby.
I hope.
The universe is listening to you through this podcast. So usually dreams come true. So just be prepared, Mohi. You never know when the opportunity will come. And
As
this
you
may
said,
be a reality. And we will be
I hope.
podcasting you next time as the head of the team,
Wow. Wow.
head of the medical team. You never know. I'm going to move on to the next question. What's one myth about sports pharmacy that you would love to bust right now?
Uh, I think that one of the biggest myths about sport pharmacy is the idea that it's only about anti-doping. Many people think the role of sports pharmacist begins and ends with ensuring athletes don't use prohibited substance. While anti-doping is an important part of sports pharmacy, but the field goes far beyond that. The role of sport pharmacy is have much rules, much values, more than just anti-doping, keep athletes away of anti-doping rule violations.
I agree. I definitely, I think there's more into that we can offer in so much in chronic care management and medications and athlete health and long-term health. I love that you highlighted that myth that pharmacists are only about anti-doping. There's so much more. The last question. So for all pharmacists out there who want to enter the field of sports pharmacy, what's one piece of advice you would give them?
Okay, I would like to tell them in the end that there are many pharmacists around the world, like Nilhan, like and Jessica, who have sacrificed their time and the effort to establish this new specialty. It's a dream we started, and we will achieve it. I am sure that we will achieve it. Sports pharmacy is still a growing field, which means that there is so much potential, but it also requires you to be a self-starter. Okay, begin your building your knowledge. Begin your building your knowledge. Look for courses, webinars, or even research articles that touch on sports medicine, anti-doping laws, and the unique needs of athletes. Networking is another key step. Connect with professionals in sports medicine, doctors, physiotherapists, coaches, and even other pharmacists pharmacists who are active in the field. These connections can open up opportunities and help you understand how you can bring value to a team. And don't underestimate the power of hands-on experience. Volunteer with local sports teams or organizations. By showing your expertise and dedication, you can carve out a role for yourself, even if the concept of having sports pharmacist is new to them. Okay. Finally, be patient and persistent. Change takes time, especially in emerging fields. Okay.
I love it. I think that is great
S-
advice, Mohy. Very solid advice for emerging sports pharmacists. I hear many questions. They're like, "Well, how do I get a job?" And like you're saying, you have to create it. You have to be curious. You have to network. There's a lot of steps in order to become a good sports pharmacist. And I think you summed up a lot of great advice for the emerging sports pharmacist out there.
Indeed, Mohi, these are really wise words. I think you just created the playbook of sports pharmacy
Yeah.
from your perspective. So we are grateful to hear such wise words. It's like a step-by-step guide to whom will be listening and will be interested in to get into sports pharmacy. This was a really great conversation, discussion. We get to know you, your work better, and we got really good advice from you. I'm definitely going to take notes out of this discussion. We would like this to be actually to write somewhere because very good advice. Thank you for accepting to be the first guest of season 3. We'll be sharing many more sports pharmacist stories from around the world. And I have a feeling that we'll be sharing similar stories because it's a similar journey that we are going through. And it's great to have you on this journey. And this is a wrap of our season 3's first episode of the Performance Prescription Lab. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and share it with your friends, your pharmacist friends who have interest in sports pharmacy. As sports pharmacists, our mission is to champion sports pharmacy while providing accurate and evidence-based insights to athletes in optimizing health and performance.
And remember, when making health and wellness choices, to consult your physician, pharmacist, prioritize safety, and stay informed. Thanks for tuning in to the Performance Prescription Lab podcast, and we'll see you next time.